Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Field Mcconnell in the house. So please, everybody, there is a logo on the wall that says Field Mcconnell. If you have a question for him, please put your question underneath that logo. If you would like to ask Field a question, please raise your hand. I will at some point unmute your mic and you can ask Field your question. Also, to everybody, again, you hear me say it all the time, but I'm not going to stop everybody. Be careful who you follow, who you listen to, and what you're putting into your mind. It's getting crazier out there on a daily basis. People randomly are getting swatted. Some people that are innocent people just over the target telling the truth. Sean Farrah right now, the guy that always does the Trump impersonations, it's on the wall. Check it out. He'll tell you the story. And then, as you know, I sit in these X spaces to hear what people are doing, how they're behaving and saying. A lot of them that I sit in give good, great information. That was kind of a double whammy. Give great information. Anyway, it's been a while, guys, since I've done the podcast, so I'm back. But anyway, they give good information, and they are letting people know that some of them have actually been swatted as well. So please, everybody, be careful who you follow. Don't stop. Don't give up. Fight, fight, fight. Like Trump says, keep doing what you're doing because it's because of us and many others that we are winning this fight. So just be aware and pay attention. Also, to everybody, if you come in late to the podcast, you can follow the podcast host on the social medias or the podcast hosts, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Riverside, Podbean, Amazon Music. I have recently created a YouTube channel, but I got to build that one up a little bit. So I'm going to start putting content on there. So if you don't have Rumble or any of these other ones, you can always check out here shortly the YouTube channel. And that is the Revival of America on YouTube. The social medias are and they're all verified except for True Social and obviously YouTube because it's new. So I got to put some content on there before that gets verified. But Jenny Dreed Facebook at Jenny_Dreed X, at J Dreed Rumble, at J Dreed True Social, at J Dreed Instagram, the Revival of America right here on Telegram. And then also check out my TikTok page, everybody. We're trying to put some more content out there. And that is at the official J Dreed. Also to everybody, I have actually invited Sean Farrah to be on my show to come on and talk about his swatting experience. So I will keep you posted on that. John Baxter was scheduled today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He will be on today at 3:30 instead of 4, so we moved it up 30 minutes earlier. Also, Alpha Warrior will be coming on. Hopefully, I'm asking if he can come on Monday, so we're going to try to go for that. Rob Cunningham will be back on here. We're also going to cross your fingers here, hopefully soon. Gene Ho, I know he's been very, very busy with an event they got coming up here in August, and then plus just what they are doing over there with the magazine, everybody. If you are not paying attention to George Magazine, Dave Blaze, and Gene Ho, please do. They are bringing the truth. If you want truth, they are bringing it. If you want some encouragement, hope, again, another person, these guys to listen to. So also, too, he is going to be signing his new book for me, or signing a new book, his new release. I don't know if you've noticed, he recently released a new book. He is going to be sending me one with his signature. So once I get that, I will take a picture of it and show it to you. It's a pretty cool book. I'm super stoked to get it. So if you haven't checked that out, I will put a link on there. If you guys want to get one of his books, please feel free to do so on the link. Also, too, I'm supposed to be going there over on his show at some point. Not sure when, but I will, again, keep you posted. They are very busy over there, just trying to do what they do with the magazine as well as get the truth out. And then this event coming up in August. Also, to everybody, if you have a story or a journey to tell, please feel free to reach out to me at the Revival of America at yahoo.com. We will get your voices heard, your story out there, because remember, everybody, it's your voice that matters and your story as well that's going to help us shape our new world. And then last but not least, check out the website. It is under construction, if you will. We're working on that on a daily basis. Sign up for the newsletter, at least. The merch store is on there as well. But the newsletter gives you the updates on the upcoming shows, the guests, the times, and then the latest updates on the podcast. You can actually listen to the podcast through the website. So that's pretty cool. So with that, everybody, please feel free. Again, raise your hand. I will unmute your mic if you want to ask a Field a question, or if you want to write your question, please do so underneath the Field Mcconnell logo. And with that, everybody, Mr. Field is in the house. How are you, my friend?
Well, I must be okay because I just hit the green button and I can talk. So, how are you today? I just heard your introduction and you sound very good. Are you feeling as good as you sound?
You know me, Field. Every day's a great day. I never complain here. I'm glad to be back. Obviously, as you know, I'm in the process of moving as well. So, but when you don't do a podcast for a couple days, you kind of get a little tongue tied, and I think many of you have heard me do that. So, I got a little tongue tied there in the beginning. So I do apologize, but no, things are great. I can't complain, and I'm glad to have you here. And I do want to let everybody know, because of the process of the move that I am doing, the shows may be a little sporadic or whatever, because obviously I got to get everything set up at the new location. So, but we will have them. But just pay attention to things may change in the ways of days, times, just because of the move. So, but as always, I will keep you posted. So, how are you, Field? I know you've had a guest over, and I spoke to you yesterday. You wanted to try to do a little bit of with the audience here. I don't know if it's a game you want to call it, but kind of how I don't know. You kind of explained it to the chat the other day of how people maybe can understand how you think. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that correct?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And if Hermanos, I haven't looked at who's here. I know there's a lot more people here than usual, which is a compliment to you, Jenny. But I believe that Hermano could answer that question. But do you see, is Hermano in the house yet, as you would say, Jenny?
You know, I don't know. I will look. We did talk about it real briefly on the chat, that about how you kind of wanted to talk about this, and I think it'd be cool that maybe because you kind of did it in with a little chat with them yesterday. If we have some guests that want to raise their hand, you can kind of. I think you called on the individuals in our little chat of. Again, I don't know how this game went. I wasn't in there, unfortunately, but I think it's just basically um, you pick. Well, you tell them, Field. I don't know how this game is. I don't want to. I don't want to screw it up. I get the
Yeah,
gist of
no.
it, but I don't want to screw it up. But I do not see Hermano
Oh,
yet.
well, that's I see Mary, Canada Mary, and so I'm just gonna try to. I'll put my glasses back on so I can read the people, and if I can see anybody else that participated yesterday. Uh, oh, Shauna is here, so if she would volunteer, we'll use Shauna and Canada Mary and Jenny. Is it okay if I? And believe me, it's not hard. It's not difficult. It's so easy you wouldn't believe it. But
Well,
I'm
what are your
just looking
thoughts?
for.
Well, what are your thoughts, real quickly, Field, about including the audience? Since we already did it with our little chat yesterday, how about some people raise their hand and maybe you can call on them and they can do it?
Yeah, that's a really good idea because we're not about being ball hogs. We're about being sharing the truth and teaching people that God's in control and the battle's over. It's just that we haven't been told by our fearless leader, President Trump, or his close workers like RFK Jr. and I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, George Magazine hasn't announced it yet, but no, we're in for some good news within the next couple of weeks. I'd be surprised if we have to wait longer than the 1st of April, which is that's very fitting because a lot of these people that tried to destroy our country, and I could go on for hours, but let's get right to the volunteering. Uh,
Real quickly,
do you
real
want to
quickly,
be?
Phil. Real quickly, Phil. Before you start that, I want to address something real quick. I know many of you have reached out to me and asked me about the podcast I created. It is 5 o'clock somewhere with the Revival of America. Everybody, once I get settled in my move, my new place, I will be doing that, and I'm going to be asking many of you, if you guys know Rubber Duck, to come on and be see what his thoughts are and his plans. But we have talked about doing some shows together. But I think he'd be a great addition as a co-host. And then obviously Santino, he is one of my admins, as is Rubber Duck. So I think this is going to be a great addition. It will be a good podcast because you guys can get to know us more on a one-on-one level. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep you posted on when that all will transpire. So Field, I apologize. I just wanted to just address that real quick. So go ahead, Field.
No, it's your radio show, and you never have to apologize to me. I mean, I'm used to everything. And, my self-esteem is not going to go in the toilet because you have to jump in. After all, it is your show. But, Jenny, if we could get two volunteers that are female and two volunteers that aren't females, we would have four people. And then I could explain the game we're going to play after we get four volunteers. So can you watch for people raising their hands, or do you know of anybody? And I've got my pencil out, my glasses on, so I'll help you with this if you need me
Yeah,
help.
yeah, absolutely. I've got one that's I've unmuted Dawn. Would you like to be a participant in this, or do you want to wait to ask your question until we go to Q&A?
I'll wait and ask my question.
Okay. All right. So I don't see any hands raised other than Dawn, but so since that is the case, so maybe some of the people that were in the chat yesterday, like Canada Mary, what would you say? S Nana was in there. I still don't see Hermano.
Yeah.
Hermano, if you're here.
I saw Hermano just moments ago, so he
Let
can
me see.
identify himself if he is here. He
Okay, I
was
just
here.
unmuted. I just unmuted him. All right, Hermano, you're there. Are you willing to participate, my friend?
Yes, my name is Hermano, and I'd love to participate. Thank you, Jenny. You're so gracious.
Oh my goodness, he's not speaking. That's a shocker. What about you, Mary?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So, well, I mean, how many participants do you need, Field? We've got Mary so far. Oh, S Nana, there you
No, we
are.
got
And then
yeah,
Annie
we got
G.
several.
Okay, so there, we've got four.
Okay, could you read the names off? I got Don already. Go ahead
Well,
with the other
Don,
three, please.
well, Don's going to wait to ask his question, so he's not going to participate in this part of it. But we've got Canada Mary, we've got
Yep.
Annie G, we've got S Nana,
Okay.
and we've got Raven. And Raven has raised his hand, so Raven will
Oh,
participate. Correct?
yeah, and I got 3 out of 4. We got Canada Berry, Annie G, Raven, and is Shauna the other one?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we can get going then. And tell me when to go, and I'll start the. It's not really a game, it's just an academic demonstration of a form of literature that most people wouldn't know about. They're going to know about it now, and they're going to see how easy it is. And the name of that literature discipline is stream of consciousness, which sometimes people that might criticize me, they think I have ADHD because I can go 1,000 different directions in 3 minutes. But let's go ahead and ask Canada Mary, Annie G, Raven, and Shauna just to look around the room they're sitting in and let Jenny know, and I'll hear it too. But when each of you four people see something in your room that you're sitting in, just give that word to Jenny and I'll copy it when Jenny copies it. Okay.
Real
All
quickly, and
four of
then
you.
real quickly,
Go
Field,
ahead.
once we do all that, if you can explain to people how the point of this, why you're doing this, and kind of explain to people your method to your not madness, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean. It's a figure of speech.
Yes. Yes. We can do whatever you want. What we need at this point is we need the four people to let us know when they have identified some random item in the room they're sitting in right now. This is not a test. Just look around your room, and when you have selected the random item, just let Jenny know, and I'll copy it down too.
Hey, Jenny, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead, Canada, Mary.
My Bible.
What was it?
Bible.
Bible. Yeah, I like
Oh,
that. Okay, go ahead, Annie.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking at a painting of Jesus holding a sheep.
Oh my gosh, I love it so far.
okay.
Painting of Jesus. Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at a God Bless America flag.
Boy, we're on a roll. We got 3 out of 4 Christians, and Raven gets to go.
Table.
CABLE.
No, Table.
Okay, table. Okay, yeah, I got and that's from Raven. And so I got to go back to Shauna. And what did you have? I didn't write it down fast enough.
It is a God Bless America flag.
Oh, okay, I got it. Uh, Jenny, you hear all these four things, and in order of their telling me what to talk about: Bible, Jesus with a sheep, Raven wanted a table, and God Bless America flag was Shauna. So, are you ready for this? In fact, Jenny, can you tell me to be quiet when I get to 2 minutes of talking without I mean, I'm going to talk about all these things with no preparation, obviously, other than preparation H. Oh, wait a minute. I don't use that anymore. Yeah. So whenever you tell me to go and then tell me to stop 2 minutes later, and I'll just do a run on sentence until then. Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
go
Jenny.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Field, and I'll
Okay.
stop you at 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Perfect. I had just finished reading my Bible and I was touched by a picture of Jesus holding a lamb, and it made me think of how it hurts my heart personally to know that 800,000 kids in America in one of our recent years got put into some form of servitude, as in sex slavery or body parts. And it's really distresses me. But I know from speaking to my friend Raven, who lives somewhere other than California, that we need to put our emotions on the table, just like you do at the end of a card game. If it's poker, you show your cards. And so, why don't we all learn to show each other a little bit of respect and to really respect children and God and Jesus and the flag that stands for God Bless America. And I'd sing that if I knew all the words, but I don't have a voice anyway. So when I was in the Bible earlier, I thought about Psalm 91:7, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's okay because there's 50 or more versions of the Bible, and they can't all be Ethiopian Bibles or Bibles written in 1873 when they still were closer to the truth. But when God wants America to be blessed, he calls on men and women to do certain things, and that's to treat each other with respect, even though we might be different colors, we might be different languages, we might be of different faiths or lack of faith, and none of that stuff's matter. We're all equal, and I say that based on the fact that we were all created by God, and God didn't play favorites, and he doesn't play favorites, but it blesses God's heart when we serve each other. We don't criticize each other. In fact, that reminds me of Ephesians 4:29. Let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is useful for the lifting up of your brothers and sisters. And speaking of brothers and sisters, I'm hoping that Raven has
All
laid
right.
his emotions.
Your two
Thank
minutes
you.
is up. I don't want to interrupt you, but you said 2 minutes. There you go.
Oh, yeah, but I just see people wonder how any of us can do run-on sentences. Is it's because if you've ever been exposed, I like that word, Jenny. If you've ever been exposed to stream of consciousness, you know how easy it is. It's just, and what I did was I wrote down the four names and the four items, and then when you told me go, I started about how I started with I was reading my Bible and I saw a picture of Jesus and a lamb, and then I went for 2 minutes without really taking a breath. And so it's really easy, but that explains for people like me who are long-winded, sometimes what you do, you don't mean to be long-winded or dominate the conversation, which in this case, we're going to go to questions and answers very soon. But Jenny, did you see how that stream of consciousness works?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I think you did a great job. And for
Well,
those of
it's
you
not
real quick,
about
Go ahead. Go
Go
real
ahead.
quickly. Let me address this real quick. People are saying in the chat, I can't hear either. So for those of you that can't hear, well, I mean, you're probably not gonna be able to hear me either, but I've typed it into the chat. Go out and come back in if you can't hear. Because I can hear fine. It sounds like many of you here up on stage can hear fine. So everybody may have to go out and come back in. Thank you. Go ahead, Field.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing about going out and coming back in is called reboot. And when I was in the Marine Corps, they didn't reboot me. They just effectively booted me out of the Marine Corps, but they didn't precipitate it. It's just they demonstrated a lack of confidence in my potential. And so I took my service to America to the North Dakota Air National Guard, which was really fortunate for me because from that, in the Air National Guard back in 77 through 93, I was flying supersonic fighter interceptors that were tasked with defending the North American landmass, and that includes Canada, not just the United States. And conversely, the Canadian Air Force were very used to working with Americans. We all spoke the same language, and it wasn't French. But, you know, I've been blessed in my life. And when somebody's trying to throw rain on my parade, I just whip out my umbrella and keep right on walking, you know. So, anyway, I think that that stream of consciousness, I'd like to give credit, even though this lady's probably not any longer alive. But when I went to Obama's high school, Punahou, in 66 and 67, I had an English teacher named Barbara Earl. And by the way, she was married to a Marine, big deal. I mean, Marines are just people too. And if we drag our knuckles or intimidate others, well, that's part of the responsibility. But she was also my creative writing instructor, and that's WRITING, not RIDING. But Barbara Earl taught me creative writing. And when I was over in Kazakhstan, I did some writing I wasn't proud of. So none of it was effective, but I don't want to be known by that. So I have written 4 books, and I'm in the process of writing a 5th book to honor my wife, Denise, who is an English citizen, but she had a very strong interest in a certain thing, and the thing was MH370, which was the Malaysian airline system, Boeing 777, that was reported by the lying media, pardon the redundancy. The lying media, still to this day, says the aircraft was lost. I'll go to any courtroom in America that's constitutionally inclined, which is every one of them now, because we're under the Constitution. We are the constitutional republic of the United States of America. I'll go into any courtroom and defeat anybody who wants to tell me that Malaysia 370 was crashed into the South Indian Ocean. That never happened, and I can prove it. Jenny, do you think we should go to some questions and answers now? It's up to you, Jenny.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. So everybody, I have unmuted some mics, and everybody, I don't know what to say regarding the sound. I do apologize, but that is not on my end. So I believe it might be a Telegram issue. So keep trying. That's all I can say. Unfortunately, we do encounter this often. So just keep trying. That's all I can say. So, okay, Don, where did you go? Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Okay. For the purpose of this movie, I want your opinion. 2 days ago, Schumer said that the Democrats were not going to vote on board to pass the continuation of our money. But yesterday he came and said that he didn't want Trump to have control. So him and a bunch of Democrats are going to help pass that today. So as of tonight, we will have a budget. So my question to you, is that mean that with this, everything's event driven with this movie, that we're not ready for the EBS and stuff to happen yet? Because if it didn't pass, then I think the military would have stepped in as of midnight tonight, which would have caused the EBS to take effect, which would start rolling things along. So does that mean, because it's a movie, that we're not at that point yet, so we're waiting for a couple more events to happen yet?
No. How's that for a quick answer? That's not what it means. But do you understand my response to your question, Don, is an unequivocal no?
So explain your no.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer, he shouldn't be even a restroom attendant in BB King's Memphis restaurant men's room because Chuck Schumer is full of garbage. And notice I didn't say BS because if I said BS, everybody think I'm talking about Barry Soetoro, which is Obama's real name, and his initials BS could not be more appropriate. But Schumer's a crybaby, and he doesn't like people like me broadcasting that he's a crybaby. But the one thing you didn't say when you talked about Schumer's tirade yesterday, he went on to say the Republicans have destroyed his, meaning Schumer's, democracy. Well, listen up, you little New Yorker that's younger than me. So sit down, shut up, and I'll tell you, Chuck, you make me up, Chuck, because we have not been a democracy. We've been a colony of England from 1871 until October 1st of 2024. And to prove that, people should rate I'm going to give you a subject matter that everybody should research. It's real easy to find. You can go into any search engine and put the organic, ORGANIC, Organic Act of 1871. And then after you catch your breath, or maybe I do, the other thing you really need to look at is the Bankers, BANKER apostrophe S, Bankers Manifesto of 1892. The Organic Act of 1871 is the point at which the United Kingdom government decided enough is enough. America's out of control. We need to control it. So they tried. And I've got a couple of choice words for the royals or the fake royals in England. And the second word is you, and you can fill in the blank on the other part. But from 1871, when England took control of us as a colony, and then 1892, with European bankers that wanted to lock up the control financially of the United States of America so that we couldn't get any more powerful. Gee, that didn't work, did it, you dumb European bankers? And I'm not saying every European banker's dumb. I'm saying the ones that came up with the Bankers Manifesto to enslave all the Americans, they failed. And they never could have known back in 1892 that we would have a president who may have a third term after his second term, because not only has Donald Trump been enlisted by God, that's not Donald Trump talking, that's me, Field Mcconnell. But Donald Trump is not just leading the United States of America, he's leading the world. He's going to redistribute wealth. The people, the mamby-pamby little spoiled brats known as Democrats. Notice I didn't say Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden or Camel Toe or whatever her name is. But no, they think they're going to perpetuate the debt slavery or the enslavement of all American citizens. I won't repeat my name because it's not about me. It's about the United States of America. And I was once in the Navy, the Marine Corps, and then the Air Force. And I've taken 4 oaths altogether. I intentionally left out the first oath, which was the 14th of February of 1967. And the only person other than me that knows what that oath was my wife, Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell, who died on the 30th of December of 2020. Now, do I miss her? Yes, I do miss her. Am I upset that she died? No, because that was God's will. She had thyroid cancer and she was living in constant fear and apprehension, knowing at some point she'd suffocate, which is exactly what happened. Don, did I come close to answering your question and giving you the rationale for why I talk like I do?
Well, I don't know why you talked that way, but you did not answer my question. My question was, we know this is a movie, and we know all the Democrats like Schumer's even been gone already, and they're all actors playing their part. My thing is, are we not ready yet for the EBS because that's going to pass a budget which means that we're not going to see the EBS for a couple more weeks. So what's your thoughts? Do you think we're not the normal people that are sleepers aren't ready for the EBS, and that's why they're kicking? I should say kicking. They're not kicking the events that hasn't happened yet for the EBS to come out. So tell me why we're not at that point yet. So the EBS should be coming out.
Yeah, I got a real simple, straightforward answer because Donald Trump has not ordered it to be put in place. It is a poor choice of words on my part. All of these remedies that Donald Trump and RFK and other loyal American servants like Kash Patel, who's the FBI director, and the lady from South Dakota who's in charge of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, they're all supporting the United States of America, but Donald Trump alone has the executive power and authority and mandate to pick the timing. But Donald Trump and the government, they're ready to go at the drop of a hat. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off. I would take it off right now as I try to describe how much respect I have for Donald Trump and his wife Melania both. And I have a personal reason for that. They knew that I was being treated unjustly, or I should say unlawfully, by the state of Florida, the state of Wisconsin, and a certain judge in the 17th District of Florida, whose name is Dan Casey. And those people, the two governors and the judge, they probably haven't dealt with many Marines. I hope I answered your question. We are all ready to go the very minute that Donald Trump tells the White Hats to let her rip. And the Space Force is involved in this. Now, I just threw that in because that'll just confuse bad people, but it will encourage good people because our allies, and one of our longest serving allies is Canada. And there's a lot of good things that are going to happen. I wish they had happened already, but I'm not Donald Trump. You know, I'm just sort of a nobody that loves children, and red or yellow, black or white, they are precious in God's sight. But yeah, the short answer, I'm not good at short answers, but here it is. This will all be remade public when Donald Trump deems it's the right time. That's pretty clear and concise, isn't it, Don?
But I still think it's an event. That's why we're going to have 17 states get bad weather, because I think there's some cleanup needs to be done yet. So I think by what you said, we're still not at that event. And we know Donald Trump has the say-so when everything, regardless whether it's in the United States or any other country. He's the one that's calling every shot. So along with his other people that are helping him. But anyway, you pretty much, but still, it's an event because I was thinking that it would not pass the budget, and that would start kicking things off with the military, even though they've been in control for the last probably 12 years. The military, I thought they needed to bring it out to the public of the sleepers and let them know, but they don't know yet.
Well, can I add one thing to your optimistic and accurate viewpoint, Don?
Sure, you can do whatever you want, and we'll see what I can rebut you with.
Oh, please do. I love to be rebutted. Yeah, we don't really need a budget. I mean, administratively, they probably would like a budget, either whether they're Republicans or Democrats. Oh, they'd either like a budget or they would like to obstruct a budget. But the absolute truth on this day in history, the United States of America does not need to worry about money. And if that doesn't make sense, I don't know how many trillions of dollars have been recovered in the last 4 to 6 months, but it would water the eyes of anybody that's asleep. A trillion is 1,000 billion, and I'm guessing that, and this is a guess, but I don't think it's very far off as the bottom of how many trillions we have. I would guess we have more than 50 trillions that have been taken just in the last couple of months. Taken from where? Okay, taken from the Vatican, specifically 650 airplane loads of gold that was under the control of the Vatican Jesuits. Write that down, Jesuits. They're not even, well, I'm not going to judge them. Matthew 7:1 says, judge not. So I won't judge them. But the Vatican had a lot of stolen gold, and Donald Trump sent 650 airline-size aircraft over there to get the gold and redistribute it to we the people, not just in America, but around the world. Go ahead and rebut that, please, if you can, or if you want to.
I think if you're truly awake, we know all that. We also know that the debt has been paid off a couple of years ago. We know all that. What I'm saying is, why is it has to be put off the EBS and stuff? Because, and I know the white hats and Trump, and they've tried many things to try to wake up a lot of the sleepers and stuff. For some reason, they just don't want to wake up. So I think it's time to pull the Band-Aid and put out the EBS, and let's get this show on the road so we can start doing our humanity projects. And let's not hurt the people that's been awake and truly know what's going on. Let's take care of them. Let's start giving a little bit of the dividends, whatever they're talking, or whatever and stuff, and let's start helping some of the people that are really hurting. I mean, really hurting.
Yeah, and my heart goes out to the people that are hurting. But some of those things you just mentioned, you said dividend. There are a couple things that are going to happen in March yet. I read this just this morning on a website I've been reading every day for the last 7 years or so. It talks about elderly or disabled people are going to be getting a check in March, and the size of the check, the two numbers I read, it was $5,000 or $7,000 just this month alone, and at that rate, they can keep those checks up into perpetuity. So that'll be encouraging. Now, since you rebutted me, I'm going to give you a chance to rebut something else. Do you know what is going to happen in the skies? And I'll give you a hint. It's called a blood moon. But do you know when that blood moon is going to be clearly visible, Don?
Yeah, I went out last night at 1:26 last night, and I even took a picture of it, and it was a blood moon out there. And then I said to him, "says Can you bring that a little bit more bloodier so I can see it?" And it hesitated a little bit, and the shooting star went underneath that for my eyes to see. So I know he hears me. So I know a lot of this stuff because I'm totally awake and I know what's going on. I just wish that more people that are, even if they say they're awake, even a lot of platforms, when I listen to them, a lot of people that are on these platforms, they are not totally awake. So I think they need to really put something out there to really give to everybody go to their knees for God or something, so that they understand and they really will wake up.
Well, let me add something to that real quickly. So for those of us that platforms are out there speaking, or even this conversation right now, we're not even fully awake. They have flat out told us we are going to be shocked at what's about to happen. So, and I do believe that when you're talking about the EBS and all this stuff happening, if you listen to Roseanne Barr came out and she had a good show with Nino. She basically is saying, like, these Epstein files that we're waiting on incriminate a lot of people, as we know, and all of Wall Street is a part of it. So if you release all of that in one bundle right now, can you imagine the chaos that's going to happen? So they're doing it in a fashion where they are trying to save as many lives as possible. Unfortunately, we have had some casualties of war because we are in war, but we can't, as you know, Don, can't just they can't just release all this information, right? I get the suffering, I get all of that, but I also do see the little wins that are happening, that are building up to that big win, right? I mean, we've been winning since he has been in office, whether it be a big win, small win, whatever it may be. But I think people's expectations are right here at X, and when it doesn't happen, just like the Epstein files, now they're going after Pam Bondi. Now they're going after Kash Patel, saying all this crap. We got to let it play out, because remember, this is a strategic plan, and we're never going to know the ins and outs of all the plan, or exactly who was involved and how they were involved, those kind of things. Because if this happens again in the future, they can't give away their playbook, right? So I understand the frustration, but at the end of the day, we as the podcasters, we as the people that want to, try to wake up our family, our friends, whatever, on the offshoot of being even in a podcast, just talking to your neighbors, we don't know everything. So we're not even 100% awake. So we're still going to learn stuff as we continue to grow within this movement. So I would have to say is just hang in there. I know it's easier said than done. I know it's tough for many people, but take the little wins and the big wins that, it's like Trump says, we're going to get tired of winning, winning, winning. And we are winning, winning, winning. So for people with their expectations, want to see these arrests right up front right now. I mean, I've been told already by people we listen to that are great, that are very reliable, the arrests are already happening. So just because we don't see it doesn't mean they're not happening. So a lot of things are happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. So just take solace in that and know that, and talk to the people that are maybe asking you these things, and they're either going to believe you or they're not. But at this point in the game, if they're not going to believe you, they're going to have to see it to believe it. And if they don't see it, when they do see it, they don't believe it, then those are those people that just may not survive this. And that's just the reality of it.
I agree with you 100% because even us that are awake, we only know probably about 20% of things that are happening. And I know we can't just pull the band-aid because where we go one, we go all. We want everybody to survive this, as many people as we can. And as a Vietnam vet, people still don't understand why we went to Vietnam. So that'd still be a mystery too. So there's a lot of things that people are never going to know.
That's right. And you know what? When people do find out about a lot, they're going to be pissed off
Hey, Jenny.
because we've been lied to so much. And you know what? Thank you for your service, by the way, Don. We appreciate you. Yeah, you're right. A lot of this information that we're going to find out and be put out to the forefront. I mean, we kind of already know and done the research, but a lot of people don't realize that these wars that we've been having are unnecessary wars. All these wars are just money grabs. So yeah, I agree with you right there, Don. Go ahead, Field.
Yeah, I agree with you and Don both. And I just want to address two things, the three, I guess, things that are happening right now that are visible. The sealed indictments, which in 2019, when I went over to North Wales to organize the Children's Crusade, there were about, I think there were about 50,000 sealed indictments in March of 2019. Today, there's roughly 540 to 560 sealed indictments. And of course, Don, or anybody like Don or like me, might say, well, why don't they unseal them? Actually, Don and Field, they are unsealing them. And Gitmo down there in Cuba, it's completely grossed out. And when I say gross, I mean gross weight, gross victims. I mean, the people that are going to be the victims going forward are the perpetrators of these evils. And an evil that Don is not going to like hearing about it, but maybe he's heard it before. Don, I think you mentioned, why did we have a war in Vietnam? Am I paraphrasing you accurately?
I said we had a war, and we know why, because it's all money grab. But people don't know the real reason why we went over there. And when they find that out, just like they said, it's going to shock a lot of people. And all these wars are going to shock a lot of people. And like I said, I'm your age, Phil. And during the Vietnam War was not a very good war for me because I lost my oldest brother and a cousin over there. So it was not a good thing to know what we know now, to know what they did to us.
Well, Jenny, can I let her rip briefly?
Let her rip, potato chip.
Okay. These motherfuckers that sent us to war, that killed our best, our brightest, our good breeding pool. It's all about, well, in the case of the Vietnam War, the trigger was narcotics, the Golden Triangle. And some of the household names like General Westmoreland, whoop-de blanking do. Yeah, okay, you got 4 stars. You're also a traitor. And I've very aggressively for a long time gone after exposing these senior military officers that are traitors. And I would just give them a brief coded message because they like to talk in code. FAFO. Don or Jenny, either one, do you know what FAFO means?
Fuck around and find out.
And they're fucking around and they're going to find out. And just because I like to personalize my attacks, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and I don't know if Joe Biden's still alive, but they have collectively been fucking around, earning lots of money with an enormous retirement system, and they're going to be paying the price. And that's why about 3 minutes ago, I said Guantanamo, or as people say, Gitmo, it's full. And it's full of people facing unsealed indictments, mostly for treason or child trafficking. Don, can you correct me? I'm not challenging you, Don, but would you agree with some of my opinions, or would you tell me I'm AFU?
No, I think you're totally on top of it. But also, it's not only Gitmo; it's all the other places that we have places that are set up for them too, and they're all full too. They just don't have the place to put all these pedophiles and these people that what they have done to us.
Well, perhaps they can sodomize each other while they wait for their execution, because at the end of their trial, and there's another name for it, they don't call them tribunals, they will be offered four choices of a manner of death. And the manners of death that they will be offered, and they can pick, would start with a gallows, a firing squad, lethal injection, or the guillotine. And why the guillotine? Because Obama and James Comey, the former FBI guy who thought he was big, 6 foot 10 inches. Well, big guys can die just as quickly as little guys, and they're all going to die. And do I feel good about a couple 100,000, maybe 600,000 being sentenced to death? Well, I keep that in perspective. When I wrote a letter to Trump's White Hats and said, please do not let George H.W. Bush go to Arlington National Cemetery, where there's guys my age and there's guys, my parents are both buried there. My mom and dad were in World War II, but let's not go that route. I mean, I love my mom and dad, but that's not who I represent. I represent ladies. I represent children globally. I represent humanitarian projects. And as far as FAFO, the people that have been FAing, and people can do the math on that, that's blanking around, they're going to find out. Oh, Mitch McConnell is one I like to pick on. That guy's a complete doorknob. And on the 11th of February, I told him on Jenny's show that he needs to get out of the Senate and he needs to get out of America before I get unhappy. Well, I'm already unhappy, but it was sort of threatening. And I don't threaten many people, but when I know I have a rock solid case, it doesn't bother me to threaten them, because it makes all of us little people feel better that somebody's paying attention and somebody is kicking ass and taking names. Over to you, Jenny or Don or whoever the next guest may be.
Real quick before I let you go, I think what they should have done is took a big cargo plane and gave them a choice: Atlanta, Pacific Ocean, dropped them off right in the center of the Pacific or Atlantic Ocean. If they made it on land from there, then maybe their trial was that way. But that's my opinion. That's what they should have done. But then I understand they didn't do it because they didn't want to pollute the water.
Yeah, and they thought it would be a little bit grotesque if they dropped 5,000 gallons of human blood in the water right before they dropped all the congressmen and senators who've committed treason. And I could rattle them off, but it's so much easier to rattle off any congressmen or senators that did not participate in treason. And I don't think there's any of them, because if I know what they were doing, they knew what they were doing, or should have. I mean, they swore the same. They didn't swear to the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and something else like I did, but they all took an oath of office, and they were supposed to represent the nation of the United States of America, and that was the old colonial nation Uh, that died on October 1st of 2024 when Trump declared us to be a constitutional republic. So all these remedies that you think are slow in coming, Don, you're absolutely right. And who do we thank for the fuck around and find out crowd? Congress, Senate, and a minority of four-star generals and admirals who have broken their oath to America. And they will be given the same choices that George H.W. Bush and John McCain got. George H.W. Bush, who was not buried at Arlington, is buried in Texas. He selected lethal injection. John McCain, who was buried at the Naval Academy, and I've stood on his grave. That's not very polite, by the way. I stood on his grave because he's a little short hothead that people call an American hero. He wasn't a hero. He's a zero. If his family doesn't like that, I'm easy to find. I'm at Molly's restaurant in Plum City 6 days a week. And that's not the same as uh, what was the song by the Beatles? 8 days a week. Yeah, no, I'm easy to find. I'm also not afraid of dying for my country. I'm also not afraid of dying for the children of the world. And I'm not afraid of dying if I have to protect a lady from something that she's not interested in. Over to you, Jenny.
Well, thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Phil. I just thank you for letting me ask this question, and I thank you for everything you guys do.
Well,
Thank you, Don.
on
We
behalf of
appreciate you. And go ahead, Field.
No, I can't because we just blocked each other, but I'm going to turn it back over to you, Jenny. You're the hostess and you're also a lady. So go ahead, lady.
Thank you, Field. And thank you, Don. Thank you for being here and asking those great questions. And of course, always thank you for your service. And sorry to hear about your cousin. I think, and you said your brother. That's horrible. So God bless you. And again, thank you for being here. Okay, Trump supporter, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Ask Field your question. Go ahead, Trump supporter. Push the blue button in the middle of the screen or the phone.
Hi, I just wanted to say thanks for everything. We couldn't get in and hear earlier. That's what I was trying to let everybody know. Thank you for everything else.
Oh, thank you. But you can hear now, obviously, right?
Yeah, we got in about 1:15 or 1:20, I think.
Oh, well, thank you. You guys can always listen to it on the replay. I will post that once we get it uploaded to the podcast host and Rumble, and then you guys can check it out there. Okay, thank you, Trump supporter. All right, Patty, go ahead, my friend.
Hello, hello. I want to ask Phil something that I have never asked before, and he probably has mentioned it before. After 9/11, Field, when all that debris came down from those buildings, where did all that stuff scurry to and quickly? And if you know,
Okay,
I'd
get
appreciate
your
it.
pen. Oh no, I know. See, I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't have any official capacity. I just don't like murder, and so all of the debris went to the fresh kills. How lovely! And that this is the academically correct specific. It's a garbage dump on an island near New York City, and it's called the Fresh Kills uh, a garbage dump, I guess. And there is a picture, and maybe somebody within the sound of my voice would know how to get that picture off the internet. But there was a little girl, and I'm going to start crying. This breaks my heart. A little girl was standing on a roadway somewhere between the World Trade Center and Fresh Kills garbage dump, and she held up a sign, and you could hear my voice break. This is the evil bastards that I want to rain on their parade. Her little sign and that little girl says, pardon me, Jenny, it's tough. That little girl's sign said, "My daddy isn't garbage." Uh, I'd like to invite Mitch McConnell to get his garbage off the United States landmass. but I don't think you can, because last time I saw a picture of you, you were wearing a boot on your left foot and leg, and I think that concealed a GPS monitor to make sure your treasonous ass ends up in the garbage dump. And that's not something nice to do to human remains. But can I say something more encouraging, Jenny, at this point?
Of course, Field, of course.
Okay, Don, who talked before Patty, he said that his brother and cousin died in Vietnam. I just want to let people know, if you really want to start crying and understand how it hurts the survivors, just listen to the Irish gospel song. Basically, it's called Danny Boy, and it starts like this. Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen. I can't sing anymore, Jenny, but the guy who wrote that song, he wrote it for Danny Boy, the third of his children, after the other, well, male children. Two of the older brothers to Danny Boy had been killed, I believe, in World War I. And these people that like to fuck around are going to find out that there's still a lot of balls in America, and they're all not volleyballs or medicine balls. There are men and women that have backbone, and they're going to encourage, and they don't need to encourage Trump or the military white hats, but they're going to be breathing a lot easier when they see what Trump is going to do to restore justice in America. And sadly, for the people that like to fuck around to find out, you're going to find out already. And by the way, Don said something about other Gitmo type bases. So it's one in Greenland. It's below the surface of the earth in Greenland. I believe there's one in Antarctica, of all places. There's a tribunal at what used to be called Andrews Air Force Base, which is right outside Washington, D.C. And just to show that my brain's still working, because sometimes when I get mad, like anybody else gets mad, they lose control of their brain and they just use their mouth. The physical location in the state of Maryland that Andrews Air Force Base is located at is Clinton, Clinton. And that's not something somebody did on purpose, but just to show you how depraved these MFs are. And I didn't say FM, I'm FM. I'm talking about the bad guys. They're MFs. Bill Clinton was not a Clinton. Jenny, I'm not putting you on the spot, but maybe Patty knows. Patty, do you or your 91-year-old father, who's a Marine, do you know what Bill Clinton's original name was, or do you know, Jenny? Ladies first, and then I'll tell you.
Rockefeller.
Yes,
You're
Rockefeller.
right. You're right. You're both right. And so, in fact, I'm going to say something that's rather colorful, but I'll make sure I don't say anything that's disgusting. But sometimes, and as you ladies know, Patty and Jenny, you know that I'm a widower. And sometimes when I'm laying in bed, harking back to better days in my life, I start thinking things are not, I might have some thoughts that are not gentlemanly nor Christian. And so by the side of my bed, I have a picture of Hillary Clinton, because if I take one look at Hillary Clinton, whose name is not Clinton, it's Rockefeller, she thinks she's pretty important. Well, when they put the black bag over her head and the rope, if that's what she selects, being a coward, she'll probably take the lethal injection. It hurts less. But these people in our government, going back to 1871, if not before, the dead ones are lucky because they're not going to be executed. The live ones, like Mitch, like Chuck Schumer, like Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden may already be worm food. I'm not sure, but they're all going to pay the ultimate price. And dying is not the end of their suffering, because they're going to go to hell. That's not my judgment, because Matthew 7:1 says, "Judge not, least by the same degree, it'd be judged against you. No, I'm going to heaven, and I've got a fairly good reason to want to go there. But I'm not going to heaven until my job on earth is done. And what's my job on earth? It's written in Psalm 94:16, where God looks down on Sodom and Gomorrah and says, "Who on earth will take on these evildoers for me? Who will put an end to evil on earth?" Well, I volunteered. That's why I talk the way I do. And also Ephesians 5:11. That's in the New Testament. Ephesians 5:11 says, "Have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them." If any congressman, senator, or homosexual that served in the army, notice I didn't say Mitch McConnell, you pervert. If anybody takes exception to my direct manner, well, why don't you ask God for permission to kill me and then put on your big boy pants and come to Plum City and find me? I'm easy to find. Over to you, Jenny, and thank you very much, Patty. Over to either of you ladies.
Well, Phil, thank you for answering that for me because I always wondered. I had heard different things, and now I know. So thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Yes, and can you imagine how sad it is when somebody sees a little girl, maybe 4, holding up a sign that says, "My daddy is not garbage"? I
It's
would like to get
disgraceful.
involved in. It is disgraceful. That's why I volunteered to go to Gitmo to sit on a tribunal, because believe it or not, retired officers, and they're not being disrespectful to enlisted people, but retired officers can volunteer to go to Gitmo and sit on the tribunals. And I had an interest in going because I knew my sister would be going through a tribunal, and I would like her to have to look at my face before they pull the trap door. Over to you, Patty, over to you, Jenny, or over to the next person that wants to ask something.
Thank you, Field. Real quickly, I'm going to address this again. If you don't have sound, I apologize. I can't just shut down the podcast and restart it because I am recording in a studio of the podcast. So you're gonna have to shut down your phone. I don't know. I have a lot of people saying they can hear, a lot of people saying they can't. I don't know what to say. Tracy and Tim are not here because they are no longer with the podcast. So if you aren't familiar with that, they are no longer here. So that's why you don't see Tracy and Tim. So just try to go out and come back in, shut your phone off, restart it. I don't know, but I can't just stop in the middle of a podcast because I am actually recording within a studio. So just keep trying. That's all I can say. And thank you, Patty, for your question. All right, Grace, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Grace. Your mic is unmuted.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get the darn blue button to open. Thank you,
Oh,
Jenny.
you're good. You're good.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. And thank you, Field, for all that you do, and Jenny for all that you do. I have 2 questions, actually. And the first one goes back to something that you spoke about at the very beginning of this podcast, Field. And it's something that I have had great interest in. I've even done a little research, but I'm sure that you have way more knowledge than me. It's about Malaysia Flight 370, because I've done research that shows there were orbs that were put out in front of and behind and surrounding that flight, and that it was the deep state that actually stole that flight, took that flight into their possession. And it was because of, I don't know if it was patents or the people, I think it was both people and patents technology that was on that flight. Can you speak to that, Field, please?
Jenny, can you tell this lady I'm not an egotist?
Sure. Field is not an egotist.
Okay. Now that it's clearly established that in Jenny's opinion and mine, I'm not an egotist, MH370 was never lost. However, part of your research regarding people and technology that was in fact, you said patents, and so I'll explain that. Yeah, there were 4 engineers, really cerebral guys that knew a lot about technology. And with them, the 4 guys, and they worked for what Motorola became, which I think was called Freescale. If anybody knows that Motorola didn't become Freescale, they had the patents. There were 4 of them on the airplane, and there was a 5th one that everybody knows his name, and you'll recognize it as soon as I spit it out. Jacob Rothschild. Jacob Rothschild inherited all of the money from those patents because the other patent holders were dead. What a lovely guy the Rothschild guy was. I think he's dead now, Jacob. Uh, and then Jacob, it's called flipping when it's houses or used cars. Yeah, Rothschild flipped that over to Israel and sent the money to Israel. And Israel is not the root of all problems, but there are people in Israel, just like there's people in America, that do dastardly things. And if you're in Israel or America or the United Kingdom or Canada or anywhere on earth, you can run, but you can't hide because not everybody is as dumb or as egotistical as the people that claim they're serving America by being Congress and senators. Nope. The vast majority are treasonous, and the vast majority are also involved in child trafficking because it's very profitable. Okay, what profits a man if he should gain the world but lose his life, or whatever that quote is? Uh, yeah, and Mitch McConnell is going to find out if he hadn't found out already. But it looked to me when they threw his ass, that's a Marine talk. Yeah, they threw his ass into that ambulance like they were going to take him to the hospital because they got him out of the Senate building, I think it was, or the Capitol, one of the two, in a wheelchair. And then when they helped him into the van to go somewhere medical, that's what I think was said, uh, he had a boot on his left leg. And I would bet my life, and maybe I am betting my life, and I don't give a rat's ass. Somebody has to die for this country to protect it from so many more people that are innocent dying from this country or anywhere in the world. How about roughly 20 airplanes that the Clinton Foundation and Serco, SERCO, used for tools to commit premeditated murder of innocent people? Well, see, the reason the bad people were doing this is they thought that citizens like myself, or I'm from America, my wife was from England, she's in heaven now. I hope she can hear this show when it goes on Rumble. I doubt it though. But these people really made huge mistakes, fatal mistakes that are going to send them to hell after a fair tribunal. And after they pick if they want a guillotine, a lethal injection, 2 shots to the left head, which is what happened to McCain. The lethal injection was George H.W. Bush. Uh, I think that Hillary has indicated she'd like to be hung because then she could say, you can't do this to me. My name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay, well, first of all, you old bag, you're Hillary Roadhog and you're not a Clinton, you're a Rockefeller. So shut up, take your punishment, and see you in hell. Over to you, Jenny, or whoever we're talking to.
We were talking to Grace. Grace, did that answer your question? I don't think it did it?
Yeah, he confirmed that there were people on board that had
Okay.
information that wanted to be taken, and I figured that's why they got that plane. But my second question, if I may ask one, is a completely different question field, and it regards the
Okay.
cartel. And we know that President Trump has labeled the cartel terrorist, and we know cartel just doesn't mean drug runners and smugglers. It's also the banking cartel, the big pharma cartel, anybody that was involved in nefarious plots against America, where, you know, a number of people are gathered together, can be a terrorist cell and organization. But my question does go to the cartel that is the Mexican or the Venezuelan, the gangs, the drugs. We know they've come in over the border. And I was listening to a podcast, and I'm very careful, Jenny, who I listen to. I'm very selective. If you go and look on Telegram, I'm basically on three right now, yours and Love, Faith, and Hope and Captain Kyle, and that's really it. But I do listen to an outsider every now and then, and I do trust him. And he had somebody on that he was interviewing. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, ex-military, and he was saying that there are sleeper cells in a lot of these big cities, and they will be activated, and that we will see bloodshed in America before this is over. And I'd like to think that the white hats and President Trump have circumvented that, and that is being taken care of on behind the scenes. I'm sure it's true, but I'm hoping we don't see the bloodshed that they were talking about. Do you have any information on that? And thank you, and God bless you.
Well, thank you, but God has blessed me over and over. And, but he also gave me a soft heart, and I don't like random killings. So these cartels are going to find out the hard way. And this is for you, ma'am, because you asked me a specific question. Here's the specific, honest answer. Donald Trump, as the commander in chief, has activated and put on federal orders the Army and Air National Guard of all 50 states. And now that they're on federal orders, they have been deployed to all 50 states. In other words, there is a military presence in every hotspot where these cartels exist. And if there's going to be any blood being spilled, it's not going to be American blood. It's going to be the cartels. Now, some of those people in the cartels are Americans, but they're not the best and the brightest, but they'll be equally dead. So Donald Trump and his military white hats, and now I'm going to say something Jenny hadn't even heard before, maybe. Jenny, did you know I personally wrote 350 well-researched and footnoted letters to President Trump during his first administration? That's a yes or no,
Yes.
Jenny.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I did. And you notice I'm not dead because I don't think I should die. I'm trying to not only help save America, which I am, and save the 209 nations that look to America for leadership. And when these 209 nations look at America for leadership, they're looking at President Donald John Trump. And one thing I'd like to do, I hope you hold me accountable, Jenny. I'd like to get all 350 of those letters. And I have a friend that's really high tech. And I think that even when things are scrubbed from the internet, I think they're available. And I have confidence that Donald Trump and his military white hats have all 350 of my letters that went from Field Mcconnell. And you got to listen to this, Jenny, you've heard it before, but from Field Mcconnell, USMC 0116513. So there's a reason for that 0116513. That was my Marine Corps serial number when I was a Marine officer, which started on the 9th of June of 1971 and ended on July 1st, or excuse me, July 5th of 77, when I removed myself from the United States Marine Corps Reserve and got into the North Dakota Air National Guard. And this is a promise I'm making to you, Jenny. If I can find a way to get those 350 letters off the internet, because I put every one of them on the internet, they went through back doors to President Trump. So his white hats and his intelligence apparatus, they'd have copies of those letters. I think it'd make a very interesting book, and it's not about me. It's about the United States of America. And now I'm going to go another direction, and I don't have ADHD. But did I hear you, Jenny, mention Tracy and Tim?
Yeah, I did. I have, as people are frustrated, I understand they can't hear the sound. And then there was a comment that they don't see Tracy and Tim. Well, Tracy and Tim are no longer with the podcast for very good reason. So I just was addressing why people, or why that individual was saying they didn't see Tracy and Tim. If you guys haven't already known, they haven't been with the podcast for about a month now. So, and it's for very good reasons. And this is why I tell everybody, be careful who you follow. Go ahead, Field.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get personal, but I was kicked out of the other chat room by one of the people you mentioned, and that same person uh, said in her own chat room publicly that I have dementia. Well, just look at the questions I've answered so far today. Jenny, do you think I have dementia?
No, Field, you're far from that. And just so everybody knows, you can't disclose people's health issues to the public. That is a very big no-no. It's you can get in a lot of trouble for that. So just know that. And Field does not have dementia, as you clearly can see.
Yeah. Well, I have the ability, not because of me, not because of my academic background, which was rather lackluster. And the only reason I can do this spontaneously, and I don't always get every question right, but I very seldom get any question wrong if I talk about it. But it's because God asked me, and He did it through inspiration and scripture. God asked me to expose evil. And when a Marine gets an order, a Marine would rather die than fall short of the order. And God Himself ordered me. No, He didn't order me. He looked for volunteers. Who, Psalm 94:16, who on earth can take on the evildoers for me? Well, I volunteered. And then Ephesians 5:11, have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And Jenny, as you know, I love exposing myself, but I love exposing the bad guys a whole lot more. And bad guys, off the top of my head, oh, pretty much everybody in Congress, everybody in the Senate, maybe 20% of the senior leadership in the military previously, because they've been cleansed. And the cleansing will continue under Trump and the military white hats. Sorry for the long-winded oratory there. But did I answer that young lady's question?
I believe he did. Did he do good for you, Grace?
Yes, and thank you so much. And Field, God bless you, and thank you for your service. And I love hearing about your precious wife. I'm married and I love my husband very much. We have 4 amazing boys, and I can't imagine being on this earth without him. So God bless you, and I will pray over you every night. And God bless you, Jenny. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you for always being a part of the podcast.
And Grace, I want to thank you on another level. I love your name because it's through the grace of God that I've been put in this position to let her rip potato chip and to pick these big bullshitters like Mitch McConnell. And for those of you who didn't hear my tirade against him on February 11th, it went something like this. Hey, Mitch, the bitch, get out of my country, get out of Senate, and get out of that stuff by the 14th of February. And I gave him that little threatening, disrespectful, and highly accurate order. And he got out. I mean, by the 14th, he was out of he announced he was leaving the Senate. In more current news, yesterday, 3 Democratic senators announced publicly that they were not going to run for reelection again. Well, that's good because you're not going to have an election again. Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. You're not going to have another election because you're going to have a tribunal. And there's a little bit difference. An election causes you to continue making a whole shitload of money every year and then a very fabulous retirement for your lifetime. But once again, you 3 senators, your life expectancy is not very good if you go to a tribunal. Over to you, Jenny, and thank you, Grace. I love your name.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you, Jenny, for your compliment. And thank you for all that you do. And one last thing, Field, I like when you let it rip potato chip because it shows that you're real. And just one quick funny, my daddy always called Westerns shit kickers. So I like it that you're a real person and you say real words. And God bless you.
And Grace, I know what your name means, and that's why I like your name. And you know, it's strange for novices who haven't been on Jenny's show with me. You'd think that because 80 or 90% of those listeners are Christians, you'd think some of the Christians get put off by Marine Corps language. Well, Since 1775, when the Marine Corps was established, the Marine Corps has had the ability to be put on foreign soil to dominate bad players around the world. And you're going to see that, in the next couple of weeks, because a lot of Marines that are deployed right now, they're not nice guys, and they don't talk mamby-pamby talk, and they don't sit around a campfire eating beans and singing gospel music. They go to the front of the battle, and the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force can't do what the Marines can do. The Marines can go on foreign soil and kick ass and take names. And if they want to kick ass with shit kickers on, that would make your dad happy, wouldn't it, Grace? But not all of us are trained to be polite or gentlemanly. Some of us are trained to commit to a fatal activity and either die trying or win the victory. And who's the victory for? Victory in Jesus. Amen. Thanks, Grace. Jenny, over to you.
Thank you, Field. Thank you, Grace. Okay, everybody. Let's see. I'm going to go to a couple questions here on the wall, Field. Okay, there's one from Ready Pin. It says, "Do you think Iraq will revalue its dinar soon?" And remember, everybody, we're not financial advisors here. We're just giving opinions here. Okay, so go ahead, Field.
Well, I can research that because in the last 48 hours, I've read when it is anticipated Iraq is going to revalue, and I think the time is extremely close if it hasn't already happened. But I can find out the answer when the radio show's over just by checking some data that's on my phone. So if it hadn't happened yet, it's going to happen. And wouldn't it be nice if it was announced when we have this blood moon? Because who controls the moon? Who controls blood? God does. And if you anybody anywhere in the world are doing things to harm your own country, or worse yet, harm your own children, your life expectation is not very good, because God knows what you're doing, and God has a mighty force assembled against people that commit treason or participate in child trafficking. Is that fair enough, Jenny?
Sounds good to me. All right, here's one from John. It says, "I'm self-employed plumbing contractor and have multiple customers asking me for my W-9s. How should I address this? I don't want to be a part of the system anymore. Thank you, John."
Well, he's W-9, he's talking about income tax, isn't he?
Correct.
Nobody has to pay income tax in the United States of America. And I'll tell you when you volunteered, because if the government, or if a attorney, or if a CPA or a financial advisor tells you you have to pay income tax, pardon my French here, Jenny, you're all fucked up. It's voluntary, and you volunteered when you signed your very first 1040. And if you want to get out of paying, now that you become enlightened, and first of all, the IRS is gone. They're dead, and they're not coming back. Now, does that mean we'll have no tax? No, we're going to have a 15% tax on non-essential new items. But if it's not essential, or let me do it the other way around. If it's something that's essential, but it's not new, no tax. And so, they're trying to, who are they? They're the bad MFs around the world that are trying to get us to live in fear and look over our shoulder because Big Brother might get us. Hey, my name's Field Mcconnell, USMC 0116513. Nobody's gotten me yet, and nobody will get you. But now I got to give you the other part of that equation. No, we don't have to pay tax. I haven't paid tax since 2013. There's a form if you like the IRS. I don't. I hate them because the debt slavery. When did the IRS come into existence? I believe in 1913. I could correct that, or Jenny could correct me. But We've been paying tax. We who? We Americans. Where did the tax go? Oh, everybody thinks it goes to the budget. Nope, it does not. It never did. It went to the UK royals, who took the lion's share of the taxes, which formed debt slavery in the United States of America. And maybe 10% of it went to the Vatican, but it probably went to the Vatican Jesuits, which are the military and intelligence branch of the Vatican Jesuits. And those guys, including the Pope, that sadly is having a little trouble breathing. And that's not, I'm not giving you code for he's dying. I mean, he's near death anyway. He's 88. And I don't want him to die. I don't want anybody to die. But these Jesuits wear red shoes. Jenny, do you know, this is a yes, no. I don't want to put you on the spot, Jenny, but do you know, yes or no, why the Jesuits wear red shoes?
Yes.
Thank you. That's enough. Now, the rest of the people that might want to know why the Jesuits in the Vatican wear red shoes, just Google it. You know, everything I know, with rare exception, but I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know, I wouldn't know anything. I wouldn't even know if I was a boy or a girl if it wasn't for God being full of grace, gave me two very, very good parents that basically insisted I amount to something, even though I didn't want to. But my parents couldn't control that, but God could, and God did. And if I get remembered for any good thing, it's only because of God. And if I get criticized for any bad thing, it's only because of me. But on the 1st of February of 1994, and I'm speaking basically with a little bit of poetic license, I was in a hotel in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and God knocked on my door, either through inspiration or through scripture, and said, Field, you've been trying to live your life for you forever. I've asked you to come to me, and you haven't come yet. This is the last time I'm asking you, Field Mcconnell. Will you stop trying to control your life and let me control it better? And I didn't get on my hands and knees. I actually sat on my rear end on my bed in the hotel and I started crying. And I said, thank you, God, for saving me, even from myself. And so then that set in motion what you people are hearing today on this radio show, where I've written 350 well-researched and footnoted letters to President Trump during his first administration. And some people are afraid of their own shadow. And of course, all of us, the bad people in the world want us to all be in fear. Well, Jenny, you could probably anticipate what my response to anybody anywhere in the world that wants to put fear onto any population, whether it's American, Canadian, Rwanda, Kazakhstan, Korea, North or South, take your pick. But my very short response would be a very loud, fuck you. You know what? Those bad people in the world, and they're in all countries, but they're being weeded out. And when I say weed, well, they're going to be fertilizer. And weeds and fertilizer do things, and good people do things to help the garden grow. Over to you, Jenny, or the lady, if I didn't answer her question.
Yes, I think you did. Thank you, Field. Okay, I have another one here on the wall from Sandy Stinnerson. Oh, shoot, where did it go? Oh, hang on a second. I keep hearing about Social Security payments coming up. Does that include those on disability like myself? Thank you for your service. I love listening to you. God bless you.
Well, isn't it funny, Jenny, how so many people say, God bless you, like Grace did. And the truth is, God has blessed me. He took control of my life in 1994. And, as people say, well, what has God ever done for you? Oh, I've got one. How about after 3 failed marriages? How about if God said, I've told you before, Field, that you can try to control your life and it'll be a train wreck time and time again until you come to me. So I came to him. He came to me first. And I was introduced by God. And if people can't believe that, I understand, because I know how people are trained in schools, public universities, and by their parents, sadly, not to believe certain things. But God introduced me to Denise, and God introduced Denise to me. And it was a blessing to both of us. And I'm not saying I was a blessing because I'm me. No, but my wife Denise at age 49 had never been married. And I asked her, I said, when I got into her home the first time by her invitation, not by kicking the door in, I said, Denise, I'm a heterosexual male, which she assumed, but she hadn't found out yet. We took care of that later. But I said, Denise, you're attractive. Any heterosexual male would be attracted to you, and you're intelligent and you're caring. How is it that you've never been married up to age 49? And she said, I never met a man worth marrying. And 6 months later, we were married. Thank you, God. And God, thank you for taking Denise home when she had inoperable thyroid cancer. God, what a blessing that was to me, because I didn't have to worry about her. I knew that she was in your loving hands and your loving arms, and that you would take care of her, and she'd never cry again. She'd never be in doubt. She'd never be anxious, and she'd never be lonely. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. Real quickly, God bless you, Field. Hang in there. I'm going to address this real quickly. So, for the individual that wants to come onto my channel and say, fuck this, fuck you, I've had enough of not being able to hear a damn thing. Try this on. Goodbye. You come on my channel and you behave that way, you will be gone. You will be banned, period. I don't deal with bullshit. And I won't tolerate it. This is why my channel is private. This is why if you come into my room, you're here, we welcome you. But if you want to just come in here and listen to certain chats and then leave the channel to request to come back in, you're going to be banned. Now, we do make exceptions, but if you come on my channel, if you disrespect me, if you just disrespect my channel, my guests, you will be removed and you will not be allowed to come back in here. So this little individual, I won't even say your name, but if you want to go on the comments, everybody, because I won't give you your little 15 minutes of fame because that's all you want. This is how you speak, right? So you guys can see it. If you're on here, you can see it on the chat. I won't deal with that shit. So just so you know, I'm going to address it. I won't call you by your name. Maybe I should to maybe look like to show you're an asshole, but I'm not going to give you your 15 minutes of fame. So I already gave you enough attention, but this, everybody, is why I do what I do with my channel. You want to come on here and behave like that, then you're gone. So I will go remove him. And Field, thank you for sharing that with Denise. But I do want to reiterate real quickly, because I don't know, maybe if you didn't hear all the question, but they wanted to know about Social Security, if it's going to benefit. Hang on, let me reread it to you. Sorry, I just see.
No, I
read
got
this.
it. I got it.
Do you remember?
Elderly and disabled people.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm going to go ban this person.
And
So
yeah, well, ban them all you want. And if that's not good enough, they can come to Plum City and they can line up. The line's now about 2,300 people plus that are lined up in queue, as the English would say. That's CUE, not Q as in JFK Jr. But they can line up and come up and kiss my ass, because you're not welcome here. And if you want to use language around Jenny that's not gentlemanly, then I'll just revert to my previous life, and I'll tell you what you can do with yourself. And I won't call you an asshole, because I'd be more precise than Jenny. I'd say you're an anus, ANUS. Okay, over to you, Jenny. Sorry for that outburst.
no, you're good. So Social Security, yes, it is going to benefit the disabled as well.
Yes, elderly and
Okay.
disabled, and it's going to be coming before the end of this month, March. So just be, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Kash Patel, and I got the last name of the DHS commander, but her last name is Noem, Noem. from South Dakota. This is a whole new band of government servants, and this band of government service is serving America and serving people with special needs and serving foreigners that want to join in an alliance. And there's 209 nations that look to America for leadership, and it's only because America has some kick-ass leaders, and we see them every day on the news. Donald Trump, he knows where the problems are, and he knows the solutions, and that goes back to the person that had the question about the U.S. Navy SEAL that told that man or woman that there's a cabal people in every state. Yeah, there are. Too bad the SEAL didn't tell you that all 50 states' National Guard and Air National Guards have been activated, which means put on federal funding instead of state funding. And they're deployed in all of the hot spots like Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Chicago, of course. Chicago is the sewer of America. And when Donald Trump, I think he's pretty much done draining the swamp. Maybe he can go up to Chicago and drain the sewer. And that's not Donald Trump's choice of words. That's mine. Field McConnell, if you don't like it, we'll help you rip yourself a new anus. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. All right, everybody. Field typically gives us 90 minutes of his time. We are right there. I will take one last question from Linda Erickson, and then I've got to get prepared for John Baxter. He will be coming on here at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was originally 4, but we pushed it up 30 minutes. So please come back for that at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, guys. My question for Field is, what are your thoughts on the Evers versus Michael's election? And when are we going to know the truth about that? Because I feel Evers did not win Wisconsin. Okay, Field.
Okay, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, Jenny, could you repeat that question? I was having difficulty with her voice. Go ahead, Jenny.
Go ahead and repeat that. Where'd you go, Linda? Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, I'm still here. I want to know Field's thoughts on the Evers re-election back in 20 whatever, and Tim Michaels, because I think in Wisconsin nobody wants Evers in there.
You're going to like my answer. Are you ready for it?
I'm excited.
Well, Governor Evers, who is a worthless dweeb, and if
Yes.
anybody thinks he's governor material, he's not. He's a public educator. What do we collectively think about the education system in Wisconsin or any other state in the United States of America? Well, Trump thinks so little of it. He shut down the U.S. Department of Education so that states can either continue to keep their kids stupid, or they can clean up their education department state by state. Tony Evers, if anybody doesn't think he's going to hear this message, oh yes he is, and he isn't going to have to wait for my book, and my book is going to indict him. INDICT. At the very least, Tony Evers is guilty of elder abuse, and I'm the elder, because when I was detained in Wisconsin at Pierce County, I was put into solitary confinement numerous times, I think 3. Didn't bother me because I didn't like my cellmates. They had totally different values, and I did learn very quickly not to pick up the soap. But anyway, Tony Evers is going to feel like he better not pick up the soap either, because he committed elder abuse against me, Field McConnell. And now that we're in a constitutional republic and our courts have to be constitutionally inclined, I could probably sue him. But I think just by putting him on notice will scare him to death, and then he won't be around for re-election, either because of a heart attack or because of extreme cowardice. Did I just call him a coward? Well, what kind of a person puts a 70-year-old in solitary confinement when that person's the governor of a state and should know the Wisconsin statutes, but he didn't. He's got his head up his ass, just like Ron DeSantis. But these people will have their come to Jesus meeting, and then when they come to Jesus, they might not be accepted to stay because everybody gets to go to the judgment seat, and some people are judged worthy of eternity in paradise with God, Jesus, my wife, my parents, people like me. And I don't mean people do like me, I'm saying people that are like me. Some of us find out somewhere along life's way that we are better served by following God's commands and throw the laws of any state out the window if you don't want to go by them, like Tony Evers didn't. But to the lady in Wisconsin who is hoping that Tony Evers will not be elected again, I can almost guarantee it. And when I publish my book, which will be in April, I hope it doesn't run any later, but the book I'm going to publish and distribute, in fact, I might just put that this is coming to me spontaneously, Jenny. This is hilarious. I usually put at the front of the book who I dedicate it to. I think I will dedicate this book in writing to Governor Tony Evers of Wisconsin, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, and 17th District of the Florida uh, legal mess, the courts, Judge Dan Casey, because these people think they can ruin lives. Well, they haven't ruined mine. They tried, but they didn't get away with it. And someday I'll say on Jenny's show who protected me when I was incarcerated. And some people are thinking aloud to themselves, well, I think God protected you. Well, you're right. God did protect me, but he used a human to do it. And I'm not at liberty to say specifically which human he used, but he did use a political person that was superior to DeSantis and Evers and that judge, that crooked judge, pardon the redundancy, down in Florida. The name of the book, if anybody wonders, it's War Bride, POW, and War Bride alludes to my wife, Denise, who's been gone 4 years or so. And she's a war bride because when I proposed to her and she said yes, she knew that she could become a widow in 2 weeks because there's people who don't like the truth and they'll kill anybody to stop the truth. Okay, I don't know how many of these governors like DeSantis or Evers of Wisconsin have ever locked horns with a Marine, but if you try that, you might just get your horns ripped off. And then, of course, you can stick them where you want them. Over to you, Jenny. Did I get that lady's question answered?
I think so. Did he answer your question, Linda? Did he answer your question, Linda?
Yes, he did. I
Okay.
just wanted to say that in the beginning, when he said, write down what you're looking at, I said my favorite man, which is my husband, listening to Field, and he doesn't do this kind of stuff with me very often.
That's awesome. Thank you for that, Linda.
All right, thank you. God bless.
Have a great.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Linda.
Yep, thank you.
All right, everybody. So we are right there. Field, we went a little over today, but that's okay. Field, we'll see you. Let's see. Next week's going to be a challenging week again for me, but we are here Friday. So Fields, because I'm going to be traveling on Thursday to Texas. So I'll get with you, Field, on when we can get you scheduled. Tomorrow, next week, maybe a short week for me in the sense of shows. So watch for the newsletter, everybody. And I always put on the guests and the updates of the lineups every week. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. So watch for that. But here, I know for sure, John will be back here at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time here shortly. So you guys can come back for that. I'm trying to get Alpha Warrior on Monday, so I'll keep you posted. And then I don't know. I'll work with you, Field. We'll try to get you on Monday as well. But it's going to be a short week for me next week in regards to the shows. Just want to give everybody that FYI. So with that, everybody, have a great weekend. And everybody, be careful. Like I always say, who you follow. We gave an example. Well, we talked about it briefly. You just never know how close or how far in distance they are from you. So please be careful. I can't tell you that enough. It is crazy out there. People are getting called out, and they're going to continue to be called out. So watch for that. And Field, I love you. God bless you. We will see you. We'll hopefully try to get you on Monday. But if not, we'll work through that for sure.
Well, I love you too, Jenny, and I don't mean in a physical way. I mean in a respectful way, because you have a lot of backbone, and I appreciate that. And one of the greatest demonstration of your backbone and courage is you allow me to come on with no script. I don't know what the questions are going to be, and let's see if Field can answer this. And I generally can, and I'm not bragging. It's just I've been doing this for so long. And the other half of I'm not bragging is those people can't scare me. Uh, my background is such that I've been scared in my life, but not because of wimps that infest Congress and Senate. And I'm just glad that we have a new sheriff in town. And it's not a sheriff, it's a president, an FBI director, a DHS lady, and a director of Health and Human Services, RFK. These people do not fuck around and find out. So thank you, Jenny, for the opportunity. If you need to not even have me next week, you're not going to offend me. But if you tell me to come on, I'll be there, and I'll look forward to the questions that I never have before you, Jenny, turn the mic on and say, let her rip, potato chip. Over to you.
And we'll talk in the background on it, Field. And everybody here, you witnessed exactly today why I do what I do with my channel. Because many people ask, why aren't you public? There's reasons for that, because I know the agitators, the trolls are out there. I sit in enough X spaces or, some channels over here. They are physically putting these people in our rooms to do exactly what you witnessed here today. So I won't deal with it. So you want to come on and just misbehave and be disrespectful to myself, the room, the guests, you're gone. So you witnessed it. Now you understand what I do, and hopefully you can respect it. And I know you guys do, because you continually come back here, which I truly appreciate, because the Revival of America would not be anything without you guys. So again, everybody, God bless you. I love you all. Have a great, fabulous weekend, and we will be back here. We will be back here on Monday. We will have some shows on Monday, and we will have some shows on Wednesday. So it's going to be Monday and Wednesday. SG and On's going to be coming back on. He took a little bit of a hiatus for a hot second, and he is back. I think that's on the 8th or the 9th of April, so I'll keep you guys posted. But a lot of stuff coming up, everybody. So hang tight, hang in there, stay positive, take the little wins, the medium wins, hang on to that, hang on to all of the positive, because I can't tell you how much positive there is that is going on out there and behind the scenes. So I'm being told some really great information. So with that, everybody, God bless again, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you on the John Baxter Show. Take care, everybody. See you shortly. God bless.
God bless everybody. Bye-bye.